Hello, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Carole. This is my channel, Sew Carole, and today it's Lutterloh time. So I'm going to be making a very simple Lutterloh top because I'm all about simple and basics, but I'm using the Lutterloh system to help me make a long sleeve top. Of course, I need to backtrack a bit because if you've never come across the Lutterloh system, or you have first time you've ever joined me in my sewing room and you don't know about the Lutterloh system, I'll do a quick explanation of it. So this Lutterloh system, it's also called the Golden Rule system, was invented in Germany. It's been going since the 1930s. Now this is a kit that my mum bought back in the 1970s and she very kindly gifted it to me a couple of years ago. She'd made a couple of things right back at the beginning and hadn't really made anything certainly for the last 20-30 years. So I thought I would give it a go. So this is the original system, obviously had different pens added along the line, but it still works brilliantly. At the end of the video, I haven't done this for a long time, I think I did it on my first Lutterloh video, is I'm going to do just a little slideshow of the 1970s designs in the back because they're fantastic. So obviously this has got, as I said, old designs, and what I do every now and again, not all the time, but I pick up the new supplements. So they produce about 4 a year, and this one was, I think it was autumn 2024, and there was a couple of basics in there that I wanted. So the supplements very often offer quite dressy garments, and I'm all about the basics. I don't have a lifestyle where I go to work or go out in the evenings and things like that, so it's the basics. And there was one particular design that I really like the look of. In fact, I must say, one of my lovely viewers, I won't mention her name just in case she doesn't want to be mentioned, but she has got the Lutterloh system as well, and she made a couple of tops. I think it was her first ever garments. She made a couple of the same top, and that inspired me to have a go. So thank you very much. You know who you are, and I will show you what I made. Before I film this video, I counted up how many Lutterloh things I have made in the past, and I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this will be the 10th Lutterloh garment I've made, and I just thought I'd quickly show you how I store them. So I always take a photocopy of the page. In fact, I photocopy everything. I photocopy the actual pattern, how you draw it out. Yeah. Now, if you don't know about drawing it out or how you even get pattern pieces from these little midget designs, then if you refer back to one of my earlier Lutterloh videos, and you can see me drawing it out, I'll find the best one I can, and I will put that in the link to that in the description box below. So I always take a photograph of that so I don't ruin these supplements, and I take a photocopy of the designs I'm working on. So I had a go. Some of these were successful and some of them weren't. The more experienced I got, the better they got. But that was a pair of leggings I made, which turned out enormous. This was a very easy breezy dress I made out of chambray a good couple of years ago, and I still really love that. This here was a tie top I made probably about a year ago. Again, very successful. This here was a pair of jeans, and it had side buttons and a split, and you know, I didn't think I'd wear those because of the buttons, but I still do. I really love them. They came out way too big, and there was a reason for that. Because I was quite a beginner, I didn't realize that this meant kind of more plus size, so it meant it had lots more ease in it, so I didn't realize that at the time, but I made them work and I wear them a lot. This was the only thing I've ever made for my husband, for the men's, and it was this t-shirt, and he loves it. I made about 4 of those a few months ago. So successful t-shirt pattern for him, that one. This I think is my favourite I ever made, and I made it earlier, I think in the spring, out of a jersey. It's a jersey button-up top, and I just love that. It was so easy to make. I'm definitely doing that again. This I made for Christmas last year, this blouse with these drop sort of shoulder with a sort of balloon top. Another excellent design. This was the first one I ever made, and this is from the 1970s book, but I ought to revisit that actually, because it came out a little tight on me, didn't quite understand what I needed to be doing, but that's from the 1970s. This one here, a nice v-neck top, and that came out really well in jersey fabric I used. And this one here, I actually cut off the picture. So it was just a simple top, but it had these kind of facings on the shoulders and some gathering there. Shame I couldn't, if I find the actual picture, I'll put it in for you. So yeah, so I've made a few things now. So what I wanted to make was this Raglan, and I love Raglan sleeve stuff. Just seems to suit me quite well, just a basic top. And I had a waffle knit burgundy fabric. So the first couple of clips I'm going to put in is after I've drawn it out, and then how I go on from there and put the neckband, and then you'll come back to me and I'll show you the finished article. So the design I'm going to be doing is from supplement 334, and it is this top one here. So it's 211. It's for stretch knits. It's just a basic Raglan sleeve, long sleeved, I think it is, right down to the wrist, maybe cut a bit short, Raglan sleeve with a jersey neck band. So really fairly simple, hopefully, and I've made a lot of Raglan tops before, so I'm hoping I shouldn't have a problem. So if we look at the pieces, all we had to cut out was a front and a back and a long sleeve. You meant to cut out a neckband as well, but I just kind of went my own way on that. So that's 211. 213 is this design here, but it has got ruffles on, but I'm just doing the basic 211. So if I just show you the pieces that I've already cut out. So we've got the front, which is the A, cut on the fold, all very simple. The black is where I've drawn with the dimensions, and then I've added the seam allowance. So that's 1.5 centimetres, 5/8 of an inch all the way around. They do get you to mark A and D and B and D, so you kind of know where you're going to match things up. And this is the back. One thing I've kind of done to make sure it's on the right line, I've drawn it properly, is just match up to make sure the length of the side seams work, and they do. Now they talk about a facing here on the diagram. I probably won't do that. So the sleeve I've also cut out. They do look enormous, but Raglan sleeves always look enormous. They always look long, because bear in mind this is kind of the shoulder and this is the sleeve from the shoulder down. I've probably shown it to you before, but I've used two measurements. I've used my upper bust measurement and my full bust measurement. So I've drawn a line, anything above the yellow line I've used upper bust, and I've scribbled them just so I remember, and anything below the line is my full bust measurement. So this is the shape we're after. It does come in at the waist, so I'm a bit nervous, but there we go. I was very happy when I noticed that the sleeves did match up in length. And if I do that the right way around, then that would look a bit better. And because they matched up in length, I've actually put some notches so I can remember, like the big four do, which is the back. So that will be the back. And the front ones also match up, which I'm very happy about it. So I know I've drawn it out right. So now we've just got to make it up. So now I've got to connect it up. Now normally with a Raglan sleeve, I connect the sleeves just sort of like a diagram. So I've got the front, I put the sleeve, I put the back, sleeve, and join it up to that front. So I kind of work my way around And then obviously you've got the neckband that you've got to try and put on, and then the side seams. So you're bringing it all the way from the sleeve down. That's in theory how it's going to work. Now this is my front. I've marked it with 2 orange dots, the right side and the front. And as you can see, I've attached the sleeves. So this is the back, these are the 2 sleeves, and this is the neckline. So I have neatened the seams and joined all those. And what I'm going to do now is put it on the mannequin and fit a neckband. So they only give a guideline here. They say 4 centimetres, circa 45 centimetres. So I know I might as well just kind of measure it myself. So I cut a 4 centimetre strip. This fabric is super stretchy, so it wouldn't have worked out right anyway. But what I'm going to do is kind of work that. Now I can measure that with my tape and then make this, because of the stretchiness, I think I'll even make it about less than 90%, maybe 85%. And then I just kind of work it round to see what I think it'll look like. Because obviously we don't want that where it's too tight, and we don't want that where it's too loose and it flops down. It's got to be like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. It's just got to be right. So the measurement round here was 57 centimetres, and I've chopped about 10 centimetres off that because, as I said, there's so much stretch. And what I tend to do is, that'll be over a little bit like that. I then clip it round and see what it looks like. Now, if it's beginning to flip up like this, I know by the time I sew that, it's going to sit about right. So the front, I feel, is going to be right. I'm a bit worried about this being a bit loose here, so it might need to be pulled in a bit more, but it's trial and error, I think, with a neckband, because every single fabric is different and every stretch is different. So I think that will work. You can see it trying to tip up there, so that's about right. By the time I've pulled the seam in properly here, that should work. This is probably about the only time I ever use my mannequins, is actually to put a neckband on. This is what we've got so far. So as with me, you always have to ignore the dots because that shows my front and right sides and whatever. So this is where I realised that waffle knit isn't the perfect fabric for this top. It's very floppy. So what I have had to do is I put a cuff band on, and I love those anyway. So I've just more or less cut out kind of squares. I think it was 6 inches by 7 inches, doubled it over and made a nice cuff band rather than kind of a floppy seam. But this has left me with the bottom. I just wanted to show you before I did it. So this is the length it came out. Haven't done anything to that. As you can see, it is just hanging. It's just hanging. Other than that, I'm really pleased with the top, and the neckband went on beautifully, and it's really good kind of fit on me, so it definitely works. But just thought I'd show you, because what I'm going to do is put a hemband on as well. So just to make it look a bit more fitted. If I do a hem on this, it's just gonna hang, isn't it? It's that type of fabric. So I thought I'd show you before. In the photo, they've got it tucked in anyway. So it could be the perfect top if you wanted to tuck it in. That's not kind of what I wanted. So I'm going to make these hembands and I'm going to put them on the bottom, and then it'll be finished. First thing I want to say is the waffle knit fabric. This is the second time I've used it, and probably the last, because it is so drapey. It just kind of hangs. So as you can see in that last clip, I had to adapt the pattern a bit to make it sort of look a bit more professional. Now, I know it's boring, and there's a reason for that. It's because I really wanted it as a kind of layering piece for walking, because I like to do a lot of walking. So It's plain, but it's waffle knit, and it will be quite a nice base layer under a coat for walking. So that was the reason I actually made it in this fabric. I would definitely revisit it in kind of like a French terry or something like that. Would look really good. Probably would need to put the hemband on the bottom. So here we go. I was pleased with the neckband, how it came out. I got that just right. The stretch on this was crazy. If you've worked with waffle knit, you know that. Obviously I showed you that, got that, and the hemband went on beautifully on the bottom, and I did have to stretch this quite a bit. First time I put it on, it was still just hanging, and I like it to kind of grip around sort of my lower than my waist, so I did put a fair bit of tension on that. But there we go. I'm very pleased with it. It's a beautiful colour. I did put a facing on the back, as I tend to be doing now with my t-shirts. Just a scrap bit of jersey. That's all I use. I don't use bias binding. Scrap bit of jersey on the back, and I'm really pleased. But as you can see, it's very light, so it did need a bit more structure. Certainly not hemming on the bottom, just with my cover stitch machine, because I think it would have waved out. So definitely did the right thing, and I love a waistband and a cuff there anyway, so it worked perfectly. So as always, I'll probably put a little bit of footage in of me wearing it, just to show you how the fit is. It did, so I used upper bust measurement sort of from here and then lower bust, because I'm quite narrow shouldered, so it's spot on. Sometimes I have the problem that this comes down too low, but because of using the Lutterloh system, the idea is that it should fit you quite well, and indeed I think it does. So as I said, I will probably definitely remake one of those. So that's about all I can say. What more can you say about such a plain garment? It was definitely a success. I'll just repeat, it came from supplement 334. Design number 211, which is that one. They do have this version where you could put some kind of like, you know, fancy tool or something like that. No, not for me. I need the basics. So that probably won't be the only thing I'm making out of this supplement. So keep your eyes open for another Lutterloh video and see how we get on. Now, I promised I'd put some of the 70s photos at the end, and I will do. If you want any more information on Lutterloh system, they do have their own YouTube channel, but you can also catch some of my earlier videos. My very first videos are complete beginner, me drawing it out, not really knowing what to do, but the later ones are, I'm getting the hang of it, and as I said, all the garments that I have made, I had to tweak sometimes, but I wear them. Thank you for joining me. I do hope you join me again in my sewing room for either #FridaySews or any other video that might pop up. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.